What is going on in Buffalo? Amidst all the Bills drama this month, the Sabres continue to lift fan spirits. And Marty Biron is here to talk about it. So, Marty, you played for Lindy Ruff during his first tenure in Buffalo. Should he be in the Jack Adams conversation for Coach of the Year?
Well, obviously, Lindy Ruff is definitely having a great season as a head coach, and there's a lot of great candidates for the Jack Adams Trophy this season. But the biggest difference for me when I look at Lindy Ruff, and I always thought he was a type of coach that really challenges players in understanding the game, right? When I played for him in the late 90s and early 2000s, there was a ton of systems, a lot of different situations, face-off plays, and maybe it took a little while for the Sabres team to adjust, and maybe it took a year and a half. But the biggest thing that we're seeing right now is how well they are playing defensively. I get it. Goaltending is really playing well, and it's helping a lot. But the Sabres are not giving up on man rushes like they used to. They're not giving up chances from the middle of the ice and the slot like they used to. The defensive structure has definitely tightened up. And maybe that's after a year and a half of always showing the same and teaching the same, it's finally catching on. And I think that's what makes a great coach, is being able to finally break through with your teachings, with the way you want to play your system, making small adjustments, moving players around, right? Tage Thompson started on the wing. He's back to the middle, and he's playing extremely well in the middle. Some of the younger players that are getting called up from the American League, being able to fit into the systems and playing a big role. So for that alone, I do feel that you have to consider Lindy Ruff as one of the best or better coaches in the National Hockey League. There's just so many candidates now that with, the better part of 30 games left in the season, it could go either way.
Now, this run started right around the time they fired their GM Kevyn Adams, but in an interesting twist to this never-ending rebuild, a lot of the players Adams acquired have been the ones spearheading this turnaround. So is it time to give Kevyn Adams his flowers?
Well, I think that, unfortunately for Kevyn Adams, the team was not winning, right? And I know that it started the winning streak. They won 3 games out of the 10 in a row, and after the 3rd game, that is when they fired Kevyn Adams. But the start of the season really kind of didn't start the way they wanted. But the players and the trades and the signings that Kevyn Adams did over the last few years, like acquiring Biron, acquiring Josh Norris, signing Jason Zucker, signing Matthias Samuelsson to an extension. And for the better part of the last few years, Samuelsson was always injured, and we weren't really seeing the development, which we're seeing it this year, signing Alex Lyon, a big part of why the crease has been so good. So there was a ton of really solid hockey moves that were made for Kevyn Adams. But unfortunately, 14 years, although it wasn't all Kevyn Adams, but missing the playoffs all these years, and the fan base growing impatient, and maybe even the front office growing impatient, made it that Kevyn Adams was let go. And unfortunately for him, it was just at the start of his kind of moves being able to go forward, and Jarmo Kekalainen filling in was benefiting from all the success. But I do believe that Kevyn Adams did a lot of great moves, a lot of good decisions as the GM, but unfortunately wasn't able to get in the playoffs for the time that he was here, and the bad start to this season really cost him the job.
And Marty, now with the Sabres in Toronto tonight, we got to ask you about the playoff odds. Sabres haven't made it since 2011, but their chances are much better than the Leafs right now. How do you explain this new development in the Atlantic Division?
Well, I think that when you look at the Leafs and the Sabres, do you have a lot of question marks with the Sabres right now? No, you don't. You know that Tage Thompson is scoring. You know that Rasmus Dahlin is a stud on the back end. You know your goaltending's been strong. And then you flip over to the Maple Leafs, you have a ton of question marks, especially at the blue line and still in the crease, right? I mean, Joseph Woll has been good, but where is Anthony Stolarz going to be now that he's returned and played? So, the Sabres don't have a lot of question marks. The Leafs do. And I think if that was me, I would take the club that doesn't have a lot of question marks. Over the last few years, the Leafs were so dominant, so good, and you knew what you were going to get game in, game out. Right now, it's been so inconsistent that I don't know what Leafs game is going to show up any given night. And the Atlantic Division, which used to be Tampa, Florida, the Leafs, right? Those were the top 3 teams in the Atlantic Division. All of a sudden, you have Detroit, you have Montreal, you have Buffalo. These are the teams now that are sliding in to the top positions and competing for playoff spots. So yes, Ottawa was in there last year too. Now Ottawa took a little step, but there's a bit of a change of the guard in the Atlantic Division that you're seeing. And it's because those teams have filled in the gap where they had question marks, where the Leafs now have gone and accrued question marks over the last 6 months to a year.